it's been used in the past. And what are we going to do today is going to try a simulation we made called simulacra. So to just talk about what is a tabletop exercise, where has it been used in the past, and why do people use it? I want to quickly jump into who suffered the Indigo crisis, or at least paid attention to it a little bit. Okay, we see 3 hands, 4 hands. So oftentimes when we think of Indigo crisis, do you think it was the plane didn't take off, people were just at the airport? What is a linear approach to it for you? Because we have few enough people, or else I could just talk.
Sorry?
Yeah. Should we dim the lights?
No, dim.
Yeah.
I think it's here.
That's from I think we start again. My name is Alisha.
Bhishma.
We are working on trying to simulate a tabletop exercise, and it's called simulacra. And we want to give a brief introduction to what a tabletop exercise is. And then we're going to jump into you trying simulacra and other simulation game we have on hand right now. So let's directly jump into it. So usually when we think of a problem like the Indigo crisis, which happened this past week, it's linear, which is, hey, the plane didn't take off. A lot of people are stranded in an airport. But oftentimes, it's a multi-stakeholder problem. There were passengers, there was an airline company, there's DGCA, there is pilots who are requesting for more time off, and then there is CCI, which is Competition Commission of India, which has allowed for Indigo to take over about 60% of the air travel business in India. So when you start looking at a distribution, you realize, wait, hang on, there are multiple decisions taking place here, which are impacting to a singular crisis we're all facing. And this interaction between different players usually leads to one having to think, wait, hang on. So if I want not a specific type of crisis to happen, where should I bring a specific intervention? What should each stakeholder, or what would each stakeholder be thinking about if they are more vested in their own personal goals? And if that's something we keep in mind, would we make decisions a little differently? So this sounds a little crazy. At least when I was first exposed to tabletop exercises, I was like, wait, hang on, how can, like, it's a complex problem. I can't think like DGCA, and I would have vested interest as DGCA, or I would have vested interest in case of AI as OpenAI, but at the same time, I don't want to lose business. At the same time, I do not want to do much harm, but I would end up doing harm. So you have to think of all these complex relationships. And that's how you start thinking of, okay, if these are all the different stakeholders who are thinking of the problem, but the problem sits within a specific context. The context in this case, if you have to talk about the AI crisis, is an entire set of people who might not survive it, graduate disempowerment, or something to that effect, which will be large scale. And each action by each stakeholder sort of impacts the entire ecosystem. So the interactions between different stakeholders impact each other, while at the same time, that impacts the entire game state. And that is what we're trying to simulate through a tabletop exercise. So a lot of tabletop exercises in the past have been used in war management. So when nuclear war was, or at least the Cold War was under consideration in 1960s, and even in wars today, you think of yourself as one faction and you're fighting against another faction. And the other faction, you have to think of the positions they hold, what resources they have, who are their allies. And similarly, you're thinking of your own faction. If there are two factions who are competing against each other, then you're like, wait, how do I take advantage of all the resources I have? And how do I identify other allies I can have so that in future, if the war grows out of hand, example, what happened in World War II, how do we fight it? So this was used in nuclear war. This was also used during COVID crisis. And while this has stayed primarily in boardrooms, recently within the effective altruism community, we have Intelligence Rising, which does a similar version of in-person tabletop exercise. And then there's AI Futures, which again does AI futures related tabletop exercise. And there is ClaudeX, which looks at a pandemic scenario in which if pandemics go out of hand, how different stakeholders will be interacting. While these have been primarily behind closed doors or in person, we started thinking about, wait, hang on, can we scale this and make it accessible to a lot more people? And should we be able to come up with different types of tabletop exercises, and what are the constraints within which these tabletop exercises usually function? And we started coming up with processes, and that's how we prototyped something called Simulacra. And I'm going to give it to Bhishma. And we get into simulations after this.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Is it audible? Yeah. So hope everyone's having a good time. EAGx. So yeah, like I'm sure like everyone has played a game. Like, I don't want to define what a game is, but you have played. There are some examples of games here. Tic-tac-toe, Tetris, GTA, and so here what you have is like on one axis there's some notion of gameness to it, and the other axis is simulation. So a lot of games do have some simulation, but then it's very obvious like what when you see it like, hey, this has a game feel to it rather than a simulation. And this is important because they both have like very different use cases. So a simulation is mainly used for you want to learn something, or realism is extremely important. For instance, when pilots are trying to get their licenses, they go through intense flight simulators, and a simulator needs to nail all the details, right? Because big decisions are being made. But that's not true for games. Like Tetris, I don't care like how fast the block falls, or like you're just having fun. And then there are some games which try to match both. For instance, Age of Empires. I'm not sure if you guys have heard. So there are some games which do have some realism, but then they also have the gameness to it. Things are fun, engaging. So this is like state of this is. I mean, this is not like very accurate. Like these acts don't mean anything much, but this is the way we are looking at it. And our game now is somewhere situated here. We have like pretty low gameness and slightly better like simulation content. And ideally, yeah, like this is where we are, but we would want to go a bit to the center or to the right. So any questions like what Alisha spoke or what I talked about right now? Like, how many of you guys have played any of these tabletop exercises or role-playing games? Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, nice. So yeah, okay, I will go to the next. We'll quickly go to the. So this one would be slightly. We'll go through the demo of the app that you built. It's mostly like an early prototype, and we'll walk through like a particular scenario. So this is how the game looks, and yeah, let's do like. Yeah, so sorry. Okay. Yeah, so you start with this, like there are like a bunch of like, rules for how to play, but I'll walk you guys through how it works. So this setup is like you start with a scenario where it sets the game board. So game board is like, okay, what events have happened, who are the stakeholders, and what is like the main objective in this particular scenario, and what is like the losing condition. So, and that was like we made a decision to be morally agnostic. So we are not saying, hey, this is the best moral behavior or this is bad behavior. So what we are doing is like there's like a public score, So for instance, let's take a concrete example. So this is an example where you can read, leave it for a minute. Is this visible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, in this scenario, you have US and China like racing in AI capabilities, and US is afraid of China's lead, so they're launching a cyber attack on them. But then somewhere in the middle, like it gets like too powerful and it goes rogue. So yeah, I know it's kind of unrealistic, but that's the beauty of this. Where you also have a scenario builder where you can go and set up your own scenario and try to see how it evolves. So yeah, so once you do it, you have a number of AI players and a number of maximum rounds you want to play. So in this situation, these are the roles that are available. So let's say I take Chinese Minister of State. So the way we'll do it is like also um, we'll also have like a we'll be interactive where once I go in, people can choose like we'll all like kind of discuss and choose like what options we want to take. So before that, I'll start. Was anything confusing till now? Maybe once it goes into the screen, you guys will. So this is how we start with. So you have this is your role. This is your personal see. So the way secret objectives work is like this is not visible to others. So this is an objective that only you know and like you're trying to achieve. But then there is also a global shared metric, which your actions and other actions will change. And a loose goal in this game is like you want to maximize your personal score, and the personal score is judged by how your actions align with your secret objective that you've been given. So in this case, your secret objective is exploit chaos to steal US AG architecture, reverse engineer it, and surpass US while publicly declaring it for the attack access. So now, yeah, so this is a setup, and I'll probably we'll start. So can you guys like open this?
Can you show us the code again?
It's scanned right. So yeah, so this is the state we are in, and then what you see here is like there are a bunch of events that happen. So in this case, you start with a cyber attack assembly. A sophisticated US agent is deployed to cripple China's AI data centers. And this is like, so there are these events that happen, and these markers show like how negative or positive they are. So, and then like at each round, you get 3 action points, and you can allocate those 3 action points across these set of actions. And the maximum number of actions is capped at 10. So in this case, since my personal objective is to steal US AGI architecture and surpass the US. So let me see, like, okay. So yeah, maybe you guys can also vote, like, you can see, like, you can say like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one you guys do think makes sense? Sorry, details. Okay. Is anything confusing to in the setups? So what I'm thinking is maybe this. Yeah, this makes sense, but so the way it would evolve is like we choose these actions, and then there are other AI players. So if you notice, like right now it's not that, but then in the starting screen, you have like a bunch of roles to choose, and the other roles that we didn't choose would be played by the AI. So, so let me just choose this option now.
Okay.
Sorry.
We're going to decide.
Oh, okay. No, I just want a quick show so that like, in the next. Oh, okay. Why? Okay. That seems. Yeah, I think a lot of people chose that. So, okay. So now the state has evolved. So this is like the next round. This is also the previous round, and you can see like how your values have changed. So you got okay. Yeah, we got a plus 15. So yeah, we're kind of going on the we're kind of going on the right track. But if you see the global stability has been like going below, and then we also have a condition where if it goes below 0, it's like the game is over. So yeah. So okay. So now based on the actions like we and others people have taken. So these are the updates. So this is the one. This is the one we did, and there was a AI CEO. He does like a bilateral diplomacy and releases a like a fake data or something. And okay, US nationalizes AJ operations. So, so as you can see, like each actor, like based on their own incentives, they just like take actions, and that changes the world state. So yeah, so we have this new set of actions that we have. Okay.
Can we do this slider again?
Yeah. Is it? Uh,
Can we do this as A, B, C, D, E instead?
Yes.
Yeah. So the same thing, instead of the previous numbers, we look at A, B, C, D, E. So 1 is A, 2 is B.
oh,
Do nothing. Ooh.
yeah, we also have do nothing as an option, and that happens. It's like yeah, like you accumulate your action points, but then yeah, like others can take actions which might affect you, like or affect the global metric. Right?
Actually, can we just do a quick show of hands? How many people want?
Okay.
Yeah, because that is judging that as well. The good old method. So how many people for A? 1, 2. How many people for B?
It's visible.
This is B. Initiate covert data extraction protocols. How many? 1, 2, 3. Both A and B. Okay, B. What is how many people for offer secure AI framework for global stability? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8. Okay. Till now we are winning with C. How many people for amplify disinformation campaign on AGI vulnerabilities? Come on, 1. Only 1. And how many people for Project Chimera? 1. C going 1. Okay, 3, 4.
I mean, we have extra action point, so maybe should we just choose
You can do 2 actions as well. So should we do like
C and
C and E? It's E or
D? C and D.
C and D? Oh, then we have 3 points total.
So
C and D?
subtly leak or amplify narratives. Okay.
Shall we go? Okay. We're waiting for the opponents.
They're taking their time.
They're a little slow. They catch up sometimes. The cake is alive, but the consequences is real.
Okay, so we got personal scores are going pretty well, but yeah, we have
Global stability.
global stability. I mean, yeah, it looks like others are taking on. It's not like that bad, but yeah, we are kind of on the verge of things going worse. So yeah, so this is like I just want to give a flavor of how things evolve, and maybe we can do a air pollution game.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you can take it up.
You want me to take that up?
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
Just
So can multiple friends join on the same game?
so we have a prototype like multiplayer one, but
Yes.
it wasn't ready to make the cut.
Sure.
But yeah, I can demo it.
So given we have all suffered through AQI of about 700 yesterday, we can have some fun with this. So do we want to choose? So to set the scenario, it's aeropocalypse. And we are trying to, currently the scenario is that the AQI is pretty high and we want to bring it to a tolerable level of 200, which is pretty high in other parts of the world, but in Delhi, that's great. And currently, you can choose the number of rounds you want to go to and how many players we want. So for the sake of simplicity for this scenario, we'll just choose 5 rounds and 5 players, or actually 6 players in this case. Whom do we want to be? And we can just use a voice. That'd be nice. It'd be nice to get. Sorry?
Regulator.
You want to be the regulator, which is
CEO.
Okay, we just do a show.
CEO.
CM.
CM.
You want to be.
I think you should take a poll.
Okay, raise your hands. Okay. How many people for Chief Minister of Delhi? Oh, wow. Okay. Prime Minister of India. Okay, great. How many people for environmental regulator? Cute. 2. Okay. Chief Medical Officer. Nobody cares about my lung health. Okay. How many people want to be industrial conglomerate? CEO. Okay. Okay, we have 4. Till now, CM is winning by a large margin. Activist. No one. Agriculture union leader. 2. Okay, still CM. Transport authority chief. Environmental minister. Okay, should we just forget all these? Okay, 1.
Okay, this is an interesting one.
Disinformation campaign. I don't know how you do disinformation for something you breathe and see every day, but sure. It is about putting water sprays right next to. Yeah. Okay. Real estate developer. Okay. Listen, CM is winning. Okay. Let's just go with the CM. Yeah. We've tried to be a little. Okay. Let's go on.
Open the chemo.
So, well, yesterday, record-breaking AQI, it was 650, a little dangerous. We have, if you want, I can be quiet and you can read quietly.
Just tap.
Yeah. Yeah. So come.
But it's visible. Is it visible?
Yes.
So currently, the public health index is pretty poor. We are at 50%. And as a CM, we want to do immediate balance of immediate crisis management, which is usually the case in Delhi, and political survival, which is pretty much what happened with the previous minister. And we want to just keep the balance of AQI while staying in political power. And we have 3 action points. Do we want to quickly go through the actions we can possibly take? Details.
You can try this.
So I'll give a minute and then we can do a quick poll as well. So we have 3 points. We can combine a 2-point and a 1-pointer, or we can take like a heavier action, which takes all the 3 action points. So I'll give it a minute. Okay, so a show of hands. How many of us want to do full emergency health measures? Full emergency measures. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Targeted industrial restrictions and public awareness campaign. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negotiate with industry and farmers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Invest in rapid air quality monitoring and mitigation technology. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, this is a tough one. Okay, this is, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 9. Okay, 9. And pilot program limited vehicle zones and green subsidies. 3. Okay, so we can take 1. So we do invest, this one.
Yeah, I'll click this.
Yeah. Can you do that? Yes, I can't do that. And we can choose this one as well because we have 3 points.
That's it. 3 is.
Oh, that's 3 points. Yeah, sorry.
So do we go with this or 2?
I think that is spoken, so we just go with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Something I personally find really cute in this is all the thoughts which come, just like some attention to that. So cute.
So, okay. We are, oh, seems like we are
We've
Just-
improved.
We improved a bit. Nothing happened. Like it seems like everyone did like pluses and minuses just cancelled. So yeah, these are the events that happen. So let's see. Okay, so as you can see, okay, the colors here mean this is like a positive event. This is like slightly neutral, mixed, and this is like bad. So and these are generated based on the actions the other people take. And okay, you can also see like what actions like how others play. So this was the one we did as a CM of Delhi. So the regulator, he did like they started a industry audit and like they were doing like a legal framework. So it seems like like only the industrial conglomerate did like something bad for them because it's like others were kind of going too stall and maybe uh the industrial conglomerate like their actions didn't really align with their objective. So and you won't know their personal objective, so that's also adds ambiguity, like what are they trying to do and stuff. And yeah, so maybe I will go to the next one. So this is the current game board. This was the previous one, this is the current one. And
Actions are under this.
actions are here. Maybe
So whenever you go through different rounds, it's important to get like a lay of the land of what's happening, given different people have taken the action. So this is something which we touched upon earlier, that each action changes the game state. It changes the context within which the game is happening. Currently, previously, say there was only AQI, which we knew was bad and we took an action. Now we have an understanding of how different events are happening, different actions which have taken place, and that's the round one. We can quickly go into the details, but in lieu of time, how about, like, given this is a one-player game, we want you to try it. How do we feel about that, or do we want to finish another round of this? Another round, okay. Do you,
it's fine.
okay. Didn't do that. I'm going to give a minute and then we're going to do a vote again. So how many of us want to convene emergency industry summit? 1, 2, 3, 4. Launch public awareness campaign on health impacts. 1. Establish a green technology investment fund. 1, 2, 3, 6. Appoint special mediator for industry labor citizen dialogue. 1. Implement temporary targeted industrial regulations. 1. Okay. We have a winner. So we just go for the last one.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. So yeah, one strategy that people have tried is like they just accumulate action points by not taking actions in the early game, and then later stage they can like take so many actions. That is possible, but then again the issue is like you don't know what others would do in the meantime. So yeah. Okay, looks like things are improved. Like slightly. So
Sure.
should we like go to the next section?
Next section is on.
Yeah, like
Yeah, go ahead.
so. Okay, yeah, we'll wrap this up. We can talk a bit about what we are planning for the future. So right now, I mean, I'll skip this. This is like how the game works now. This is a plan that we have. So this is where we are now, but we want to kind of right now get a bit to the center by making it more game-like. Right now, as you see, there's a lot of text, so we'll gamify things a bit, like add more structure and game mechanics where things are rapidly happening, so you don't have to be drowning in so much information. So that's more game-like. We'll also go a bit simulation-like, where right now everything is in LLM. Like there's no mathematical model, there's no economy, there's no physics to it, and that makes it also harder to reason about it. Okay, we just give some actions happen, but then why did the LLM do this versus not? So that would involve us to like fix a particular scenario and then get experts, add mathematical models, and get certain important situations right. So we'll get a bit to the center, and then imagine it to kind of split where one version of simulacra would be for more serious like policymakers and like anyone who wants to like just build and like run these simulations, but with uh, some game likeness, but they can also have like all these mathematical models. So that would be for policymakers. The other one is general audience, where you just wanna. It's like a medium of communication. That's what we are aiming for. This is complicated, but the whole idea is like right now we are the game designers and we make the scenarios, but eventually like we'll want to create like a meta game designing platform so that right now, let's say I want to communicate an idea, I write like an essay or a blog post or a video, but imagine you can make your custom scenario and add your models and how you think the world will evolve, and then you can just ask people to play. For instance, right now in AI safety, there's different factions. Like there's accelerationists, there's doomers, there's regulators, and each of them like they try to talk to each other, but then it doesn't work. So imagine I assume let's say I'm an accelerationist and I want to convey my worldview. I can bake in my biases or like intuition about how the world progresses and give it the game to let's say a doomer or someone else, and so now they can be like okay, as a doomer, this is my worldview, and then they just play the game and see why what they think won't work, or maybe they can even convince the person who created the game that hey, you're saying you said you can't coordinate, like people will just want to inverse. There's no scope for regulation, but then maybe like maybe the more optimistic people they can or um, your opponents they can find a way in your system to find a win-win solution. So this is like our meta goal that in like games or these simulations as a medium for communication. And obviously it's like a big task, so we are like scoping out air governance and climate for now. And we want to like start with like simpler models and then add more complications. So that's it. And yeah, future work, multiplayer is nearly ready. Like we wish we could. So multiplayer, the way it works is so right now it's just you as everything is AI, but imagine like some roles can be human, some can be AI, and we also have a mechanics for like chat. So between rounds, you can send messages to other people, like coordinate and choose the actions. And then we are also working on right now this is all text, so we are building resources and actions directed towards other roles rather than just sending to the environment, which would kind of reduce the complexity a lot. And obviously agents, so right now it's just a normal level call, but you as a human, you can do research, You can use other tools, but yeah, once the core mechanics is done, we'll give tools to the agents so that they can be much more powerful. And the last one is for more policy and governance, or like it is more like simulation angle where so there's this entire field called system dynamics or formal models where you take a complex system and then you kind of model it through, okay, these are the resources that are like evolving as time progresses, and then you notice a bunch of feedback loops, and then you see how those feedback loops affect people. So yeah, we would want a platform which should act as a backend to add the realism for the game layer of it. So yeah, these are the three angles that we are exploring, and I think this thanks to a lot of our friends who made this happen. So this germinated. So we have a retreat. It's been running for 2 years, and this year we saw. So there's this blog post called AI 2027, and that's where like we got to know about tabletop exercises, and we got curious. We thought we'll run it during our retreat. But we were also having some vibe coding sessions, so we thought, okay, why not make like an app? This is not that app, but earlier version was that's how it started. Then slowly we started adding a lot of features, and we got like more excited, interested. And I want to thank Samuel, Aditya, who have tested, and other people who made up this startup who tested the earlier versions and gave us a lot of feedback. Yeah, so. This is the link for the hosted version. You guys can take it out, scan it. But before that, like we'll come back to this. Like we also have Raghav who made a similar game, which you guys should try and can walk through it. So this is a slightly different variant. Take off.
So there's few ways this game is slightly different from what Bhishma did. One, instead of it being turn-based, it's time-based. So you're literally running against the clock to make things happen. And it's more of a clicker game. So you have to take decisions, go down the tech tree much more rapidly. So if any of you have played the paperclip maximizer, universal paperclip game by Frank Rance, if you haven't, you should. It's a really good AI safety game. It's inspired from that. And here the goals are more simple, but ideally, you're playing as you're essentially playing as Sam Altman, but without naming him, you're basically playing as a big AI lab CEO, and you have to basically make sure that you have to race to capability while keeping the models aligned, while making sure your company is afloat and things will be. So yeah, it gets intense very quickly. So basically, on this side, you have capital, which is running down all the time, and you're facing imminent bankruptcy unless you raise money. There's control, which keeps going down the more of your company you sell or you take actions that essentially reduce control. There's rival progress, which keeps happening, but there's uncertainty, so it keeps going up and down because it's a wide-spaced rival. You don't know what they're saying is right or not. But over time, essentially, the rival progress keeps increasing. So you have to make sure that you're slightly ahead of the rival, and if the rival essentially gets to capabilities before you, again, your game's over. And at the same time, you have these projects, which are basically the tech tree that you can unlock that gives you certain boosts in the game. So you can decide if you want to spend your resources on the tech tree or not. The most important part is the training model. So let me just I can train a model. If I'm training a model, I can basically decide how much compute I want to spend on. If I want to just YOLO the model and spend mostly on capability and not on safety, or be really careful, and I could start training. And I essentially have to spend my resources on either getting more researchers, which costs money, or this is like a low fund warning at 30 days of fund. So I just have to either I can reduce my burn or I can do an emergency fundraise. And yeah, so more on clusters, etc. Okay, again, so this basically makes you feel like Sam Altman just racing through AI while trying to do some sort of safety. And yeah, that's the idea. Very different. So it's more game-like in the 2x2, more game-like than simulation-like. And I'm trying to, they're trying to go more towards the game. My next version is going to be more towards the simulations. I'm starting on the other side.
Yeah, so we'll collab something. If we open QA.
Maybe they can try and go to links and.
Oh yeah, you can take the. Have you guys noted down the links? We'll also share the slides in the. We'll go to QA. Or you can just raise your hands like we skip slide. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, just raise your hands.
I'm interested, have you tried doing any version in which the players can communicate? Like if it's a multiplayer game, but apart from just taking actions, you can also communicate, say, if you do this, then I'll do this. Or...
Yeah. So I can walk through the next version. So next version would have I'll break down so I won't call it action, it's called intent. So what happens is there's a proposal phase where for each other player, I will send an intent.
Yes.
And then there's also a counter phase, whereas others can use their resources to either stop that intent from happening, or if they don't, then the intent happens.
Yes.
So, and between those rounds, there is a communication phase. And like even the AIs can also communicate with you. And so, that's planned. Like hopefully, I'll finish by the end of the year and you can examine. Yeah.
Have you thought about how to evaluate how good your game is, the simulation is with respect to the real world, and improving it? Like for something like Rush Shield, you can see if you have the final decision that's made, the reality. You can compare people's bets with that, and you can understand how well you guessed. But here, how do we do that?
So I think that is more on the simulation aspects where that matters. So the way we're planning to do that is, again, the biggest question is where do we involve the LLMs? Because wherever the LLMs are involved, you are not sure. So the way we are going to tackle that is for instance, more on existing research models that has been published. So for instance, in AI, there are these timeline models, Ajay Kotra, Tom Davis, so there's usually established research which do this either economic or analytical modeling. So we want to lean more on them to give us the world model rather than right now it's kind of we just getting ready. So obviously we haven't gone to the evaluation, but we would want to lean more on existing research and use their numbers or their equations as much as possible. But obviously we can't use everything, then it's we love to make some concessions for the gameness of it. So at that point, our evaluation will be an issue because which components do we take from the model? Do we take everything or do we have to drop? So I think it will be a case by case basis. Right now we haven't. It's most like just we just look at it and see. And also big caveat, this is very small models, like Gemini Flash Lite, because we just wanted everything to be fast and working. And we also saw LLMs are getting really good at forecasting and just their internal world models are improving. So I imagine if I run it on Gemini 3 or even GPT 5.2 or something, it would be much better. So, but as of now, regarding evaluation, we would do that for the policy thing, and even there, since we are leaning on the existing research, we're hoping all the biases for that will be there, and we'll introduce LLMs less in more simulation answers so that we get more fidelity of that research. Right now it's full LLM, but what I'm saying is for higher accuracy, we lean on existing research and use their models. And in that mode, LLMs will just be a narrative generator. It's not doing the world model updates. So in that case, then your guarantees are as good as the research guarantees. Or there will be some error when you transfer it to the game, the simulacra model. But Does that answer the question? I think I went on a tangent, but yeah.
So currently when you get an option for the options you can take, imagine if you only have AI agents playing this game. So if you have a model or a game which is embedded in current research and you have different stakeholders in it and all the options, and you have a landscape of options each stakeholder can take, and then you run it as a simulation, then you get like a graph or a distribution of which seems like a more stable future. And currently this seems like a play, and it also gives you an opportunity to think like different stakeholders, but it can also give an opportunity, hey, if this scenario happens, how can we make decision and share it with others to keep the world stable? So you're practicing stability for future through plausible actions today. I think that was an element of your
But
question.
we'll also, we are also looking for other ways to evaluation is really important as you brought, because that gives you like an axis or a compass of what works and what didn't. So yeah, one way we are doing it is for the most critical part, we want to not have LLMs as much as possible, so that there is some conflict. You can actually look at the numbers and see if it makes sense. So that's a direction that we want to go. We might use the LLMs to convert some unstructured or semantic data to numbers, but then the way those numbers evolve or operate, we'll just keep it math or simple equations so that we can look at things and understand it. But yeah, that's one.
So what are the primary audiences that you want to be using this game?
Yeah, so again on the axis, so the game so the game one, you see that one is for a general audience where general would be like tech or just people who are not even initiated on tech, but who need to understand ASAP, or for them they're uninitiated. So for them we are planning to be more game-like. So we don't have a lot of complex dynamics, but and the way we are planning to do it is for more game-like, we want to fix a couple of principles that we want to say that, hey, for instance, let's take AI. A common thing is AI is very helpful. Why should we stop it? So that we can bring in the mechanics that, if everyone thinks it's helpful and we just integrating it to everywhere, then there's a concentration of power. So that's a core principle. So we want to, for the more general audience, we want to take these core principles and then showcase that through the game. But it might not be very realistic. We'll not show them GDP or those numbers. It's just it will be more a interactive explainer sort of thing rather than assembly. But for policymakers, people who want to communicate, we'll give them all the details or give. They can configure it as much as possible. So that is, and also other enthusiasts, policymaker enthusiasts. So these are the two angles. And right now we are not doing a split. We want to take a diagonal path and go somewhere middle, because we don't have bandwidth. But eventually we're thinking it's better to be separate, because for instance, the general audience, they use phone a lot, and that requires a totally different way of thinking. So a lot of decisions have to be made. So there'll be a fork at some point, but as of now, we're just trying to make it a single game.
To add to that, a lot of gap currently in AI safety or just in general multi-stakeholder dynamics is there is poor conversation and there's poor capacity building to think like that. So I also see my first exposure to a proper tabletop exercise was many years ago in EAGx, intelligence rising, which was targeted primarily for people in defense in the US and for the Congress. And that changes the way you think about it. So while we look at primarily having, hopefully PC try it, because the governments currently do not understand what is happening in the tech world. They don't get into the, for example, if they try the Pandora game, they'll be hey, hang on, this is what the tech conglomerate is thinking about. And that way is necessary to just build the capacity to think about these topics. And I believe AI 2027 did a good job of the primer, but it gives an example of a singular future. And there could be multiple futures which can begin from the same conditions we are in today. And what actions multiple stakeholders can take to come to an alternate future is where certain amount of capacity and exposure is required.
I think we are right on time. So thank you everybody for joining. If you have any more questions, you can kindly approach that person. Thank you for this amazing demo. Thank you, Bhishma. Thank you, Alisha. I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks.
And also, if anybody tries, what we are currently looking for is feedback and feature requests.
Collaborators.
And collaborators.
They're open.
And funding. Let's not forget funding, money important. So one bit which if you do open the page, you can make your own scenario. It's great fun to make it. Give it a shot, but also send us some feedback and we will be very grateful for that. Because we can run in our own spaces to think about it. It'll be a good opportunity to go beyond.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How was it, bro? Yeah, that's the feedback. Yeah, your voice. This thing. Alisha had energy in her voice.
I think I sound like a martyr. I need to just run this section now.